Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of AndrewsFootball.com. Welcome to my Week 12 review, and stick around to the very end where I'm going to give you my third quarter breakdown. I'm going to break down all four divisions and both wild card spots for both the AFC and the NFC. Now, if you haven't already and you're new to my channel, there's this button right around here. See it, see it, see it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. My channel is scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. So, hey, let's just start with Monday Night Football. Wow! What a great game that was. I mean, Baltimore at 9-2. You got New England at 10-1. Remember, Baltimore beat New England, so the battle for the one seed in the AFC. Wow, that's just going to be a great fight to the very end. The Rams, unfortunately, at 6-5, they got a lot of work in order to get the wild card. The good news is they played the Cardinals twice. The bad news is they have three playoff teams besides the Cardinals. They still got Seattle, San Francisco, and Dallas. And if you've been following me for a while, I've been saying this since around September. It looks like 10 wins is what's going to take to get into the playoffs. I think 10 wins minimum. All right, I can get that out. And I don't see the Rams doing that. So I think tonight really symbolized that the Rams aren't going to the playoffs, and then that the Ravens are a very, very dangerous team. They're playing at a very high level. I think the Ravens are the best team in football right now. Sunday Night Football again. Wow. San Francisco, they currently have the one seed, but they got a tough schedule ahead. They're at Baltimore next week, and then they travel to New Orleans. So if they want to keep that one seed, they're going to earn it. And with Green Bay, to be perfectly blunt, this is a game you could afford to lose, because listen to the schedule coming up. You got at the Giants, Washington, Chicago, at Minnesota, probably for the division, and then you end the season at Detroit. Now, Green Bay, in my opinion, is really still in great shape to win the division, and San Francisco, they currently got the one seed, and they have every chance to keep the one seed, but they got to work at it. Their schedule gets tough. All right, late games. New England does what New England does. They beat Dallas. And they did it ugly. 11 games, they've given up 117 points. That's just stupid. That is just stupid. Dallas, with Philly's loss, they're still on top of the lead in the East at 6-5. It's kind of funny. In the West, you got 10-1, 9-2 team, and in the East, you got 6-5 and 5-6. So, and speaking of whoops, I went ahead and skipped the game here. Let me backtrack to my train of thought. Tennessee, they won big over Jacksonville. They won 2 straight. They're still in position to win the South. The South's interesting because you got Texans at 7-4 winning Thursday night. They're in the lead, but you got both Indianapolis and Tennessee now at 6-5. Jacksonville is mathematically involved in it, but after losing 3 straight, they're 4-7. Foles isn't the answer. It's really exciting what they're going to do in 2020, because they could do a lot of different things in 2020. Jacksonville Jaguars can do. Keep in mind they get the pick from the Rams, who are not going to the playoffs, so they're going to have some really good draft capital. Be very interesting to see what Jacksonville does this offseason, but that AFC South race is very exciting, and I think it's going to go down to the final week. Early games, I got some fans that are from Detroit. My boy Luke G. If you are a Detroit Lions fan, or you're just a fan of really good social media content, that's not me. Luke G. Field Review, part of the Detroit Sports Alliance. They do a really good job breaking down football in general. This is a tough loss for those guys. I got to talk with Luke one of these days. We'll talk some Lions, figure out what they're going to do in the draft in the offseason, because Matt Patricia, with this loss, is now officially on the hot seat. This is a team that really had a good opportunity early on to go get a playoff spot. They are, after losing to Washington, he's got to worry about his job. They have to do, I think, some drastic things in Detroit for the next couple of weeks for Patricia to stay on his job. Now, Callahan When he first took over, I said he'd have to get a minimum of 4 wins, and I'm sticking with that, so he's halfway there. If he gets 4 wins, he's going to get some consideration. But the number one thing about this game shows Washington has some talent. The defense is good. Haskins is the future. Darius Geis, for my fantasy nerds out there, if you're in a fantasy league, consider keeping Darius Geis. This guy's a really good playmaker. He looked awesome at LSU. He looked awesome. If he's able to stay healthy, this guy's going to be a stud. Plus, you got that quarterback who's got a ton of talent. Remember, early in the season, he was just working with the scout team. He had no interest in starting him. Then, coach gets fired. Let's see what you got. There's a bright future in Washington, believe it or not, but is Callahan going to be a part of it? I think he needs a minimum of 2 wins. All right. Seattle at Philly. Philly's only 1 game behind Dallas. I talked about that earlier. A huge win for Seattle. Like I said earlier, it's kind of ironic. On the West Coast, you got 10-1 and a 9-2 team fighting for the top spot. And then the NFC East, you got 6-5, 5-16. The good thing is with this loss, Philly at 5-6 still has a really good chance to win the East, and Seattle at 9-2. They're still 1 game back, and remember they beat San Francisco, so that battle is not only for the West, it's also a battle for a 1 seed. So I mean, how great is this? Oakland at New York. If you would have told me that Jets were going to score 34 points, I never would have predicted the under would hit, but it did anyway. The Jets are quietly playing a lot better, and to me it looks like they're building towards something really good in 2020. Darnold looks like he's pretty sharp. They're going to give him some weapons in the offseason. The defense is playing really, really good lately. A lot of people think about the Raiders. This is a bad loss, and it is a bad loss. But you started 0-2, and now you're in position at 6-5. You're going to Kansas City, and with a win, you're tied with the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, after that game, got to go play New England. So the schedule really opens up for the Raiders towards the end of the season. If they beat Kansas City, they're in really good chance to still win the West. I know playoffs is kind of hard to think of when you lose 34-3 against a team that has a losing record, but that's the position the Raiders are in. They do need to beat Kansas City, and if they do, they're in good shape to make the playoffs, and they can still win the West. Carolina at the Saints. It was a tough loss. Carolina lost 3 straight, making them 5-6. Mathematically, they're still in the playoff hunt, but they're not going to the playoffs. And it's really a shame because Christian McCaffrey was having an MVP caliber season, phenomenal talent. I think now Carolina's kind of looking at, hey, what are we going to do for 2020? And the big question is who's going to be quarterback. Like I've been saying earlier in some of the other games I broke down, the Saints at 9-2, they're fighting for the 1 seed. I mean, this is a really fun time to be a football fan in the NFC because you got 3 really good teams, actually 5, that can still get the 1 seed if you want to count Green Bay and Minnesota. It's a great time. It's a great time to break down football. Miami at Cleveland. Cleveland won 2 straight at 5-6. They're mathematically alive for a wild card spot. And if you're a Browns fan, you should be excited at the direction the Cleveland Browns are going. You're not making the playoffs, but the simple fact that you're not mathematically eliminated in late November and you're actually fighting for a wild card spot's a big deal. And with the Miami Dolphins, you look better. And you're winning April. You still got 3 draft picks in the first round, 2 in the second round. So you're winning April, and you are looking better. So both of these teams have a bright future, believe it or not. Cleveland is going to make things really exciting for the wild card race. And Miami, they're playing for April, which is they're going to be the team to watch during draft time. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going back to Dalton. They actually had a chance to win this game, and they didn't take advantage of it. Going back to Dalton, they're trying to win a game, and the reason why is that if they go winless, I think you got to clean house with the coaching staff. You went with a really inexperienced coaching staff, and it shows. Now, keep in mind, there's some talent and some injuries on this Bengal team, but there's really no excuse to go 0-10. I do think the Bengals are going to win at least one. They're going to win one game, but I'm not sure that's good enough for a young Zach Taylor to go ahead and keep his job. While Pittsburgh at 6-5, in my opinion, Tomlin deserves serious consideration. Here you are, you go 0-3, now you're 6-5, and you have a good chance to make the playoffs. Tomlin deserves Coach of the Year consideration. A guy who's not going to win, actually two guys that aren't going to win Coach of the Year. Giants at Chicago, a win here keeps Chicago barely alive in the playoff race. I've been saying you need 10 wins. Chicago's not going to the playoffs. The Giants with Shermer losing 7 straight, he's going to get the axe. It really is going to come, I think, any day now. You can't lose 7 after going 4-12 the year before and then lose 7 straight and to keep your job. Some places you could, not in New York. With Chicago, I'm going to break down the Chicago-Detroit matchup. Wednesday, I'm going to release that video for you, breaking down all 3 Thanksgiving games. Denver at Buffalo. I love Bill's social media, but their schedule begins now. Again, I'm going to break down the game. They're going to play Dallas. They're 8-3. They're in really good shape to make the playoffs, but their schedule gets tough starting now. Denver's rebuilding for 2020. Remember, they get Bradley Chubb back. They're going to get Drew Lock. Fant looks like he could still be a star. The defense is good. The offense is hopefully will prove in the offseason on the offensive line. But the Denver Broncos have a bright future, believe it or not. You could take away that they went to Buffalo. They played a playoff team, kept them to 20 points. Chubb coming back still going to help. And so Denver, even though this season has not a lot of good things, I think 2020 is very bright for the Denver Broncos. And with the Buffalo Bills this win, hey, look, your schedule gets tough, but you have a great chance to go to a wild card. And that's pretty exciting for Bills fans, and they should be excited. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. I'm in a small minority here, but I really think that Tampa Bay is going to stick with Jameis Winston. I really do. Despite the interceptions, he's throwing for a lot of yardage. Chris Godwin is looking awesome. And then you have Mike Evans, who I think will ultimately be the best receiver in football. Right now he's not. But I think sooner or later he will be. So there's a lot of positives there in Tampa Bay, and a big win at Atlanta. And of course for the Falcons fans, you had some good impressive outings the last couple of weeks, but Dan Quinn's still going to be gone. I think everybody knows it. It'll just be a very interesting offseason for the Atlanta Falcons. So now, let's break down the divisions. I'm going to start with the AFC. The East is easy. You got New England, of course. And then you have the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens. That's also very easy. Now, the West can really be won Sunday. If Kansas City beats Oakland, they get a 3-game lead. That pretty much ends it right there for any consideration for the Raiders to come back. I mean, you're a 3-game lead with 4 to play. I mean, come on. But if the Raiders go ahead and win that game, Kansas City has to travel to New England. I mean, that's a tough matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Raiders still have a chance to win the West, but they lose Sunday, it's over. And then here's another thing you also got to think about. Kansas City beat the Ravens. So even though they're 2 games up, Kansas City still has a chance to get the 2 seed. Still got a chance to get the 2 seed. Small one. But the AFC South is a 3-dog race. I said earlier I thought I was going to pick whoever won between the Texans and the Colts on Thursday night to win the division. I'm going to stick by that. I think the Texans will win that division. I know they do play New England next week, but they get Tennessee twice, plus Tampa Bay and Denver two winnable games there. So let's say they split with Tennessee, lose to New England. That gets you 10-6. And I don't see either Tennessee or Indianapolis getting the 10 wins. So, but here's the thing. Tennessee's got an interesting schedule. At Indianapolis, plus they play the Texans twice. The problem is it's at Oakland and then the Saints at home. It's just too much to overcome. So I'm going to stick with the Texans. So the two wild card teams are going to be Buffalo. They're going to get the 5 seed. And I think Pittsburgh is going to get the 6 seed. So here's how this would work. All right, here's how this would work is that Buffalo would travel to Houston. Okay? I got Kansas City taking the 3rd seed. And Pittsburgh would travel to Kansas City. Chiefs fans should be very afraid because Pittsburgh's had a good history of coming to Arrowhead and winning in the playoffs. However, let's say Kansas City and Houston or Buffalo wins. The winner between Houston and Buffalo play New England, and they got no chance to win up there. Let's be clear. But if Kansas City or if Kansas City beats Pittsburgh, they would go to they would go to Baltimore for a rematch. That would be fun. That would be fun. So think about this. You have the Patriots are going to go all the way to the AFC Championship game. Are they going to play Baltimore or are they going to play Kansas City? Remember, Kansas City beat them. Kansas City beat them. So that's what I got for the playoffs right now. NFC, I still have Dallas winning the East. I'm sticking with my upset pick of Seattle winning that division. And even though San Francisco's been playing great, I'm not taking anything away from San Francisco. I've been saying this for a long time. I think Seattle's going to win that division. The South is the Saints. Duh. They actually clinch Sunday if the Redskins can win. But if not, 2 weeks from now, they're going to clinch that division. So they'll be the first team to go ahead and clinch their division. And then NFC North is really, really, really exciting because you got two teams at 8-3 right now, Minnesota and Green Bay. Minnesota is the only unbeaten NFC team at home. They're 5-0 at home. So Minnesota getting a home playoff game, I think, is huge because look at your playoff teams or look at your wild card teams. You're going to have either San Francisco or Seattle. I think it's going to be San Francisco. And then you're either going to have Minnesota or Green Bay. So the way I got it is I think Green Bay's going to win that. And then the 5 seed will be San Francisco and the 6 seed will be Minnesota. Okay? Here's how the playoffs would work. San Francisco would travel to Dallas and Minnesota would travel to Green Bay. How awesome is that? And let's say you have Minnesota winning the division. We'll go ahead and flip-flop that. And Green Bay travels to Minnesota. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's great games. The NFC is so much fun this year. San Francisco beats Dallas. I think the Saints get the 1st seed. So San Francisco travels to New Orleans for the divisional round. And Green Bay or maybe Minnesota travels to Seattle. A Green Bay-Seattle playoff game in Seattle, that don't tell me you won't love that. And here's the thing. Look at the Final Four here in the NFC. San Francisco, New Orleans, Green Bay, or Minnesota, and Seattle. Who wins? You don't know. You don't know. So the NFC is just super, super exciting this year. Now, hey, remember that I am going to do my video Wednesday. I'm going to release it Wednesday morning so you get a chance. If you want to put down some action on Thanksgiving, I'm going to break down all 3 games and give my predictions. So listen, if you're a subscriber to Andrews Football, you already know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams are going to come true. But if you're new to my channel and you haven't done it already, why haven't you? There's this button. I blew it up. See it, see it, see it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. I will see you Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to drop it around noon. So, hey, if I don't get a chance to talk to you again and you don't watch the video, have a great Thanksgiving. I know you're going to watch my Thanksgiving video. So, hey, I'll see you Wednesday.